The rivalry between Flamengo and Atlético Mineiro is a footballing rivalry played between Brazilian clubs Clube de Regatas de Flamengo, from Rio de Janeiro, and Clube Atlético Mineiro, from Belo Horizonte. The clubs first played against each other in 1929, but until regular competitions were introduced in Brazilian football in 1959, the encounters were played at friendly level, since they come from different states. Flamengo is from Rio de Janeiro, while Atlético Mineiro hails from Minas Gerais. The rivalry developed in the 1980s from numerous controversial encounters between the two clubs in the decades Brasileirão and Copa Libertadores editions. It remained through the following years, and is considered the biggest interstate rivalry in Brazilian football history. The first encounter between the two teams happened on the 16th of June 1929, a friendly in Atlético's home ground, the Presidente Antonio Carlos Stadium, which Flamengo won 3-2. Atlético's first victory came in 1934, 3-1 in Rio de Janeiro, also in friendly game. The first regular national championship in Brazilian football was the Taça Brasil, introduced in 1959. Until then, matches between clubs from the states of Rio de Janeiro and Minas Gerais were mostly friendly, with an exception happening during the 1937 Copa dos Campeões, the first time Flamengo and Atlético played for a national competition was on the 2nd of April 1967 for that year's Torneio Roberto Gomes Pedrosa, a match which Atlético won 3-1 at the Mineirão. The clubs also took part in the Torneio de Povo, a competition organized by the Brazilian Sports Confederation from 1971 to 1973 between Brazil's most popular football clubs. Flamengo won the 1972 edition of the tournament, played in a single round-robin, with Atlético Mineiro finishing as runner-up. A charity match played between the two clubs in 1979, in which Pelé played for Flamengo, helped ignite the rivalry. The match was won by the Rio de Janeiro club 5-1, and Atlético Mineiro players were irritated by what they saw as excessive force for a friendly game. The rivalry, however, truly commenced in the 1980s, when both Atlético and Flamengo had strong teams and provided many players to the Brazilian national team. In 1980, the teams were finalists of the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, Atlético's third final and Flamengo's first. Atlético had the best record in the first stages of the competition, but Flamengo had the best one in the second, which meant the latter could tie the final series to win the title. Atlético won the first leg 1-0 at the Mineirão, but in the second leg, played at the Maracanã, Flamengo won 3-2 with a late goal by Nunes and won its first Série A. During the match, 3 Atlético players were sent off, among them Reinaldo, who received a straight red card after scoring twice. As Brasileirão champion and runner-up, both clubs qualified for the 1981 Copa Libertadores, in which they were drawn in a group with Paraguayan teams Olimpia and Cerro Porteño. The two encounters between the Brazilian clubs ended 2-2, and both won 2 and drew 2 matches against the Paraguayans. A playoff match in a neutral stadium had to be played between Atlético and Flamengo to decide which one would advance to the semi-finals. The match was played on the 21st of August at the Serra Dourada Stadium in Goiânia, a ground selected by Flamengo. Atlético chose the referee of the encounter, José Roberto Wright. In the match, Atlético fought forward and best player Reinaldo received a straight red card from after fouling Flamengo's Zico at 33 minutes, in what was described as a normal foul and without much violence. After the foul, Wright then sent off Atletico player Eder for complaining, after which the game was stopped. A turmoil started, in which Atletico's Palhinha and Chisao were also sent off for insulting the referee. Left with 7 players, Atletico's goalkeeper João Light simulated an injury at the restart of the match, but Wright refused to stop the game. Atletico defender Osmar then held the ball with his hands, preventing the restart, for which he too was sent off, and the match ended at the 37-minute mark, because Atletico had less than 7 players on the field. The match ended in a 0-0 draw, which meant qualification for Flamengo, as it had the best goal difference in the group stage. Atletico tried to appeal to a CONMEBOL court for annulment of the match, unsuccessfully. According to Wright, who until before the match was considered the country's best referee, Reinaldo's foul was indeed normal, but he was sent off because of a previous warning. He also stated that Eder, Palhinha and Chisao were stickers to indiscipline, and that he had to send Eder off as to not lose control of the match. The episode and referee Wright's performance were described by Brazilian and South American media as shameful, deplorable, and opprobrium. Flamengo advanced to the semi-finals and went on to win the competition. From then on, enmity marked the encounters between the two clubs in the 1980s, a fact that remained over the following decades. In the 1986 Brasileirão, Atletico eliminated Flamengo in the round of 16, winning the second leg 1-0 at the Mineirão, after a 0-0 draw at Maracana. In the following year, Flamengo eliminated Atletico in the semi-finals of the Copa União, winning both legs 3-2 in the first at the Mineirão, and 1-0 at the Maracana. The rivalry's biggest rout happened in the 2004 Campeonato Brasileiro, in a match played at the Ipatinga, won by Atletico 6-1. In 2006, Flamengo once again eliminated Atletico in a knockout stage, this time the quarter-finals of the Copa do Brasil, with a 4-1 aggregate score. In 2009, while both teams were in contention for the Serie A title, a 3-1 Flamengo victory at the Mineirão for the competition's 34th round proved significant for the outcome of the season. The encounter, which included an Olympic goal by Flamengo's Dejan Petkovic, marked Atletico's decline and Flamengo's rise in the competition. Prior to the game, Atletico was third and Flamengo fourth in the league table, with the positions being reversed after the match. Eventually, Atletico finished the season in 7th place after losing its 4 remaining matches, while Flamengo were crowned champions for the 6th time. 3 years later, Ronaldinho unilaterally ended his contract with Flamengo, claiming lack of payment by the club. A few days later, he joined Atletico, a move which prompted Flamengo director Zinho to say that he wanted any team except Atletico to win that year's Brasileirão. Atletico eventually finished second in the competition behind Flamengo's local rivals Fluminense, but Ronaldinho won 3 titles with the Minas Gerais club, including the 2013 Copa Libertadores. In the 2014 Copa do Brasil semi-finals between the two clubs, Flamengo won the first leg at the Maracana 2-0, and scored first in the second one at the Mineirão. Atletico managed to make a 4-1 comeback with 3 goals in the second half and a 4-3 aggregate score to advance to the finals, which it won. Results summary. Sources: Flapadia and Galo Digital Records. Scores and sequences. Biggest win for Flamengo: Flamengo 5-1 Atlético Mineiro 4 Atlético Mineiro 6-1 Flamengo. Biggest Campeonato Brasileiro Série A win for Flamengo: Flamengo 4-1 Atlético Mineiro 4 Atlético Mineiro 6-1 Flamengo. Biggest Copa do Brasil win for Flamengo: Flamengo 4-1 Atlético Mineiro 4 Atlético Mineiro 4-1 Flamengo. Biggest Copa Libertadores win for Flamengo: none. For Atlético Mineiro: none. Biggest unbeaten run for Flamengo: 7 games. For Atlético Mineiro: 6 games. Most consecutive wins for Flamengo: 4 wins. For Atlético Mineiro: 4 wins. Attendance. The following are the 10 best attended matches of the encounter.